Good evening, good evening. When it's Tuesday, it's the Raw Leadership Talk. And again, we are glad to be here discussing matters trust building. Where are you joining us from? We'll be glad to connect with you. Today we are featuring two important guests, Ulfat Masibo and Stephen Kimaru, who have been part of the process of the trust building program since its inception in 2019 in Kenya to date. Hope to engage with you in this particular discussion. In the meantime, even as you're listening to this instrumental, where are you joining us from? Talk to us, engage with us, connect with us, and I believe we're going to have a wonderful discussion this evening. Jackson Momani saying you're joining us from Rongai. Welcome, my brother. The Raw Leadership Talk is brought to you by the Africa Center for Public Speaking. And today we are broadcasting live from the Africa Center for Public Speaking Coaching Lab in Nairobi, Kenya. So let's go now straight into the discussion of the day. Trust building in the community. Feel free to engage with us even as this discussion keeps going. I'm your host, Dan Mugera. Thank you very much. Good evening, Ulfat. I see Steve has just dropped, but I'm sure he's going to be back. How are you, Ulfat?
I'm well. How are you, Dan?
I'm very fine. How is Mombasa?
Mombasa was shining today.
Oh, with the sun?
Yes.
Great to hear from you. Ulfat, you've been part of the Trust Building Program, which is an initiative of initiatives of change since 2019. So far, happening in Mombasa and Garissa. What has been your general experience of the program?
Thank you so much for this opportunity once again. I've been honored to be part of the initiative of Trust Building Program, which is a program being implemented by Initiative of Change, Kenya. Now, my experience was to break the stereotypes I had before.
Mm-hmm.
When I say stereotypes, I used to perceive Somalis differently. I used to fear them, to approach them. In Mombasa, we have a shopping mall which is operated by Somalis, but the only interaction we have with them is just when we are buying and selling. That is all.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a deeper interaction, knowing the real character, personalities, their perspective of religion and how they perceive other people. So for me, it was a good experience and a good exposure. So it was not easy at first, but finally we got used to each other. Difference of Islam there's no difference of Islam, it's just the culture. So the Somali culture and Swahili culture came to a meeting point somehow during the training.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you say was your personal experience of impact as far as the curriculum of the program in implementing it to the people? Because you are not just a participant, Ulfa, you are a trainer, a facilitator.
As a facilitator, at first, getting the dynamics of facilitating, and at the same time, when you say change start with you, you also have your own issues personally.
Yes.
So first of all, healing those personal issues. And the good thing with IFC, they have a storytelling part, they have a 10 moments of reflection part. They have a lot of therapy sessions that they have as a culture of IFC. So for me, at first, it was like strange. I wouldn't open up, I wouldn't talk to people, but slowly by slowly, I came to adapt to the new culture. So that culture enhanced my open-mindedness enhanced my confidence. It built my self-esteem as a person first before I could
Mhm.
go to the people. But after the
Mhm.
training, getting the knowledge, the skills, the curriculum is very unique. Unique how? First of all, it was broad. We had to narrow it down to fit in our African culture and our African intellectual capacity, and also the
Mhm.
time frame. Maybe it was not enough to train everything that was supposed to be done, but with the little
Yes.
time that we had, we did our best. We did the
Mhm.
summary, and it was a very engaging opportunity,
Yes.
because everyone could speak anything concerning their lives, the society. When you go to historical injustices, we could hear stories from Garissa, whatever they are facing. We could hear stories from Kwale, Mombasa, and so forth. So it was an
Mhm.
eye-opening experience, because you could hear more from what you're seeing as audience. They have
Yes.
more. So the dialogue style of initiating a conversation was the best, because you could talk to people and they could
Mhm.
understand you. You could also understand them, as long as you go according to the objective of the program. Yes.
Mhm. Thank you, Ulfat. I think you have captured the momentum very well. Steve, can you hear me now? I can see you're back.
Yes, thank you, Dan. I can hear you quite clearly. I'm sorry for
Thank
the
you very much.
interruption.
We have already begun the conversation here with Ulfat. But Steve, you are part of the International Council of IFC. You have been engaged in the leadership of IFC. Maybe you want to share with our audience what really informed the construction of this particular trust building program, from the international part even into initiating it in the grassroots.
Thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate for this space. Generally, when you talk about initiatives of change, it's about empowering change makers. And one of the critical things that we look at as an association, as an organization, and also as a network is
Yes.
to see how people in communities, people in families, people in business, people in government can build relationships that actually enhance cohesion in our society. And we cannot progress without trust in our communities. And this is the basic foundation around the trust building program. And
Mm-hmm.
we, as an organization, we do believe that if we have trust, then it will preempt a lot of issues. Government to business suspicion, citizenry suspicion with government.
Mm-hmm.
So we are looking towards bridging this. And from an international point, trust is not particularly lacking in Kenya only, but it's a global problem that we need
Mm-hmm.
to address. So this is how this trickled down from the international sense to the Kenyan context. And we as a community, we as a society, we as a country, we have suffered this problem for many years. So
Mm-hmm.
this is why we felt we needed to bring this program or this particular initiative in Kenya to address this perennial problem.
Thank you very much. Maybe from your standpoint, Steve, in the administration of this program, at first, did you foresee any challenges in the implementation of it? And how has it been so far? The successes also, if you could talk about
Yes, it's been a challenge because we are addressing a unique aspect of peace building work,
it. Yes.
because there's a lot of initiatives around peace building, but trust building is a unique aspect that needs a particular focus. And it's been a challenge, of course. Selling this, because when you talk about trust building, how do you even measure trust
Mhm.
in our
Mhm.
society? It's a difficult element. So even expressing ourselves, even selling this particular idea, is a
Mhm.
challenge. And we do believe that subsequently, if we model it in a way that we can actually make people understand that some of the inherent problems are around issues we have, the relations we have with the other side,
Yes.
and and even us as an organization actually convincing the international network that we need to develop this particular program to be able to address some of these issues was still an issue, and it's still an ongoing concern that we are still addressing, as much as we actually are making some milestones around some of the particular project sites that we are actually implementing the program.
Thank you very much for those candid views. Right there, Livingston Makori says, great discussion. Vincent Ochembo said, tuned in from Mombasa. Great work in trust building initiative. Rose Jerry says, tuned, even though she is experiencing, I think, poor network right there. Ulfat, is there a difference between peace building and trust building? Because a lot of organizations seems to be doing a lot of peace building. Is there a difference now that we are embarking or we are doing trust building?
Thank you so much. Steve mentioned he mentioned that it's an aspect of trust is an aspect of peace building. I will agree in depth and to confirm it that without trust, there's no peace. And without peace, there's no harmony. So society cannot grow or cannot continue without trust or build. So yes, trust is part of peace building. And peace building falls under peace and security in broader aspect. Peace and security falls under different branches. One of them is concerning terrorism.
Yes.
You know, countering violent extremism is also a branch of peace building. Why am I mentioning this? Because during the program, the Garissa people mentioned of the terrorist attack they faced in the university. So they had no trust between the Christians and the Muslims themselves as students, no trust between the administration and the students, no trust between the police who are preserving peace in that situation at that moment, and the students. But during that panic, the trust was built in a very small portion. You could see the police handling a student, you will see a Christian helping a Muslim. But when you went to Garissa with the initiative of change, we realized there are more matters concerning peace. The matters are trust. Who are we missing trust? Who is missing trust from who? The Christians are missing trust from Muslims and the vice versa. And the Muslims themselves have trust within themselves. So trust is a pillar, I might say. It's a pillar of peace building. And the peace building is a whole network of peace and security. Yeah, if I've answered you correctly.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Nice views there. You've done a good job. Steve, we started this program focusing more on interfaith, bringing Muslims and Christians together because due to terrorist attacks, there was a Cold War that was beginning to build up in this nation as far as people of different faith and especially Muslims and Christians are concerned. But now we are pushing this program towards ethnic. Do you think there is a need for trust building between people of different ethnic groups in this country?
Yes, thank you, Dan, for that particular question, because this is something that that has been in my heart for many years. In fact, since I was university student, I felt I needed to proactively promote cohesion between different communities, because I'm a victim, not directly, of ethnic division and ethnic stereotyping and so on. So I felt I needed to invest a bit of my time just to be a bridge, because perennially we've had this problem of ethnic divisions. And as much as we keep on saying that Kenyans are enlightened, but every 4 or 5 years we do experience these issues around ethnic divisions, which of course we can always excuse ourselves as a citizenry that is propagated by the politicians. But the politicians are part of us. They are brothers, sisters, they are fathers, mothers, and so on. But what is our individual responsibility as Stephen Kimaru, that in a way I can play a role to actually bridge this? And when we talk about trust building, this is in a broader sense can mean a lot of things.
Yes.
But when it comes down to the core, I need to trust Ulfat.
Mhm.
I need to trust you, Dan. Not because you come from my ethnic community, but rather because I see you as a person. I see
Mhm.
you as a fellow human being. I see you as a fellow Kenyan, not
Mhm.
because you come from Kwale or and such. So this particular program is actually even more needed because even when we talk about ethnic or religious, some of these layers actually hidden beyond what we propagate as a conviction. If I'm a
Yes.
Christian, some inherent divisions that we actually assume are actually religious, but they're not.
Yes.
They're actually embedded based on our cultures, based on our way of life, which of
Mhm.
course are influenced either by religion or traditions. And this is part of some of the things that we need to address with this particular program.
Mhm. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your view there. Ulfat, we have just had the opportunity to engage people in Garissa and Mombasa. Today, we talk about problems of ethnic groups fighting each other in Marsabit, in Isiolo, in Baringo, in other parts of the country. Uh, do you feel that there is a problem of trust in this country, that more needs to be done in bringing communities together, in bringing people of different faith together in this country?
That's quite a good question, because you cannot imagine people of the same ethnic group could fight amongst themselves.
Mhm.
There's something called social stratification. Our
Mhm.
society is divided by the social status that we belong to. So this ethnic group will belong to this empire. Somalis
Mhm.
have that in their culture, and all other cultures, Hindu caste system and Somali system, caste culture, they resemble in a way. Somali culture, there's a caste system, which is a clan system, which goes with what financial capability you have or you hold. So this ethnicity is brought by that hatred, and
Mhm.
the hatred is brought by politicians who divide the people when they're campaigning, when they're addressing the issues, when they're addressing the people. You'll find a leader from this ethnic group cannot address these people because it doesn't belong to the same ethnic group. They have been
Mhm.
even been forced to put their own person to stand to vie for any governance position, any public office, for making decisions for their own. They don't trust other people of other ethnic groups. Why? There's a problem of trust amongst the Somali people in Wajir, or the Kushites who are living there amongst themselves. We call it discrimination from within. They are Muslims, they are Somalis, they are Kushites, but they have their own trust issues. What can
Mhm.
be done to build and strengthen the capacity, strengthen the trust between the politicians, the stakeholders, and the people?
Mhm.
The council, leaders, maybe the religious leaders who play a big role in society, maybe the administrative part, maybe the
Mhm.
members of the community, so that they can find the reason of what is happening. There should be something which is happening within them that people we
Mhm.
cannot see with our eyes. They're the only ones who can understand what issues is affecting them. From that
Mhm.
point, you'll be able to know what is the trust issue. It could be politicians, it could be the headmaster somewhere, it could be the chief somewhere. So strengthening this, pulling people together and finding out who has a weakness, so you can pull them together. The other day, there's a video going on around on social media. There's a Meru lady who was addressing a Somali politician and told him, if it were not for you, this place will not be in chaos right now. What did that show you? Themselves, they have differences amongst themselves. They don't trust even the politicians who are other
Mhm.
people of other ethnic background, but they incite people using
Mhm.
instead of them leading people and giving them decisions, making for them decisions at the parliamentary level. They are busy inciting other people. And why do we follow? We don't trust our system as Kenyans. We don't trust our structures. We trust on people's words. We trust on our
Mhm.
own. My tribe, if
Mhm.
they stand, I will believe, even if he's lying. We are fascinated by all this politics. So strengthening the bodies concerned will bring much change. We cannot build trust of community and leave other stakeholders aside. We have to bring them together and so that we can find out what is the issue.
Wonderful thoughts right there, Ulfat. Steve, two incidences happened this week. One began happening last week, another one happened since Sunday. One happened in Europe. There's been the Euro Cup, and the finals were happening on Sunday. And the British people, after losing to Italy, went on the rampage, uh, you know, beating the Italian fans and even throwing racial slurs to them. And also their own players who missed penalties because they are of black origin, they also, called them names. And that tells you there's completely lack of trust, moral decay in the society. And then there's an incident that is happening right now in South Africa. A lot of riots. One ethnic group that feels so bad about their leader being taken to prison. What is your feeling as far as trust building is concerned in the world, as far as these two events are concerned?
Yes, thank you for that interesting question, because this in a way re-emphasizes what I mentioned earlier, that historically we have been stuck in a cycle of believing that some people are better than others. So when you see the British demonstrating and even trying to crucify some black individuals, or people from the African descent, whom they fell short of what was expected of them, shows the level of stereotyping, and that has been, a big issue for many years. As well as I can read history. So when you see the British do that, of course not everyone, but some particular individuals actually do that, it shows you to what level they actually categorize people, which is quite interesting when you talk about living in this century. But bottom line is that we do need to create that sense of understanding, or be a bridge towards making people understand that we're all the same. So it's not the first time the British are losing a football match on penalties. But why this particular element? Because people of African descent, 3 of them actually missed out scoring a penalty. And of course, going back to South Africa, because that's a constituent that I relate with, being an African, and also having worked a bit in South Africa. I do feel we always fall in this trap where every time we feel that one of us is attacked, then the community is attacked. So we forget the element of individual responsibility. So in a sense, when that happens, it creates mistrust in the other community, that we're not actually defending what is right, but rather trying to defend a person and justify his action because he comes from a certain community. So in actual, that actually widens the gap. And of course, primarily, even in our own context in Kenya, there's a belief that some particular communities have been running or in power for many years. You might argue that in very different contexts, but in a way, some of these systemic things we do create actually do affect the relations we have with the others, and subsequently create divisions and further create cracks within our communities. And we do have a responsibility as individuals and also those communities reach out to the other and tell them, you are my brother, you're my sister, but ultimately we are human beings.
Mhm.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I do agree with you. Ulfat, what will be your parting shot, even as we bring this program to an end as far as all issues of trust building are concerned?
We'll continue to urge us, Steve has called us human beings, but it's rarely there's a rare moment that people remember that they are human beings.
Mhm.
There's always another driving force. Why am I referring to this? The other time in Kilifi yesterday,
Mhm.
an Arab human being was killed by locals who are of origin of another community. Why is
Mhm.
this? There are trust issues of historical injustices. The more we forget about historical injustices, however much painful they have been existing since pre-colonial days until today in 2021, 20th century.
Mhm.
There's no change. And we have to accept that some land was taken, some money was taken by somebody somewhere. So the moment we release that from our hearts, we will build peace, we will build trust, we'll be able to tell the politician, no, you cannot incite us. This has been there since you're not even born until today. Let us start on a new chapter and build Kenya. That's the most important thing. But the moment you start going back, you'll never build trust with anyone, even in the own government. So as Kenyans, we should learn to let go of injustices, forgive, and move forward. It begins with you. So if we begin with ourselves, we'll be able to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ulfat, for your parting shot. Steve, in 1 minute, what will be your parting shot, even as we bring this program to an end today?
Thank you, Dan. I will go back to the African saying that the Ubuntu, because it says, "I am because you are."
Mhm.
I feel powerful because you see me as powerful. You
Mhm.
cannot be powerful or wealthy in isolation.
Yes.
And so that's my parting shot, because I do believe, if I respect you, or if you respect me, I feel respect because I had to be validated based on how you see me.
Mhm.
And to say that I trust you, I need to say that you also are willing not just to trust me, but initially, but to extend
Mhm.
or to be open to actually trusting me. And that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to bring this raw leadership talk of today to an end. I want to believe that this program has been of benefit to you, and the discussion that we have had today. Esondege, stay tuned all the way from Mombasa. Thank you very much for joining us today. Remember, change begins with you, and that we always have to confront the historical wounds that have really battled us for many years. But then move beyond that and engage in honest conversation if we are going to build teams of unity, teams, a nation of unity, communities of unity that can go forth to do a great work. May God bless you, and see you next Tuesday, same time, same place.
Thank you.